Glorious day to you, my friends. Kia kahasakara itukurutu urhututu. Welcome to Shine, Stargate Heart, Illuminate Your Natural Essence, Sikataria Rataki, where we are chanting the magical chant Om Mani Padme Hum 108 times using the Mala of Joy, and we're doing this for 108 days. And we are on day number 89. 2 woodpeckers, 3 woodpeckers. Woodpecker family just arrived and landed here. And even though Spirit told me to come here at this time, there were 4 very large and noisy trucks over there. I didn't know what to do. I go, Spirit told me to come here and record. So I walk over. They say be on this side of the weeping bottlebrush tree, and an ibis feather told me exactly where to place my carpet. And I did. And as soon as I set up, all the trucks left. Anyway, this Mala of Joy, we are breaking up the 108 seeds into 9 groups of 12, where each of the 9 groups represents one of our chakras in our Merkaba, our ascension vehicle, and that when it rotates, it generates our light body. Now, these 9 chakras at the bottom of our Merkaba is Vasundhara, the Earth Star chakra, then Muladhara, our root chakra, our foundation, Svadhisthana, our sacral chakra, Manipura, our solar plexus chakra, our intention, our fire, Anahata, our heart center, Vishuddha, our throat chakra, Anya or Agnya, our third eye chakra, our crown chakra, Sahasrara, and Vyapini at the top of our Merkaba, our soul star chakra. We are on Sahasrara. We are on day number 5 of this chakra. We are in the exploring the energy. We're playing with it. We're seeing what it means to us. We're exciting it. We're igniting it. And since it's Sahasrara, our crown, we're playing with the question, what type of ruler do we want to be over our reality? Now, this Mala of Joy, we break up each of the 9 chakras, each of the 12 seeds in each chakra into 4 groups of 3, and this is modeled after box breath, Sama Vritti Pranayama, the same mode, the same way, where the first count of 3, we're breathing in, and we're breathing in the energies of the chakra. For the next 3 days, 3 seeds, or a count of 3, we hold our breath with a full set of lungs, and we're letting this energy bake in us. We are baking the jewel of who we are. The next 3 seeds or 3 days, we are breathing out the air that's in our lungs. We're breathing out the energy from the chakra. We are radiating these ideas outward from our inner being. And then the last 3 seeds, with an empty set of lungs, we hold our breath, where we are embodying it. We have breathed it in, we have baked it, we've played with it. We have radiated it outward, and then we embody it. We become the queen and the king who we said we were going to be. We played with the energy. It's time for us to embody it, be present with it, and live from it. As I mentioned yesterday, today we're going to talk about Torah. Torah Torah means so many different things. And I told you that I'm going to draw from any religious text that I need to make a point. Whatever religious text that they point me to, or sayings, or whatever, because everything contains truth, and hopefully these truths will lead you to your truth, the truth of who you are, the truth of your Torah, the truth of your kingdom, the truth of you living asu tu uryu tuhuru, of you ruling your reality with living love. Ruling with living love. That's today's video title. I wrote most of this up years ago, and mentioned tidbits here and there, but today it's time. It's time for it to come out. Torah, many people believe that Torah in Hebrew is translated as law, and in some sense it is, but it's not like the civil laws of a country or the criminal laws of a country help to guide us on how to live. Well, it is that way. But when we break the law, the damages or the punishments that come with it aren't necessarily what we want to accomplish we want to accomplish these things in society. We want good citizens. And we want to be a part of other good citizens as a good citizen in our society. But when we're standing in front of the judge, we want mercy. Sometimes we will throw ourselves under the bus and at the mercy of the court. And in the Catholic Church, that's the whole idea behind confession, is to get it off your chest so that you can live more freely and love more freely. Because have you ever held anything in? Have you ever held that anger against somebody for a long time? Doesn't it eat away at you? That's the whole idea behind forgiveness. But let's get back to Torah. In the Tanakh, it is the first 5 books. The 5 books of Moses. In the Torah, when talking about Moses going up to the holy mountain and getting the Torah, the law, from the burning bush, from the holy fire. These laws were given verbally. The next time Moses went up alone, He went up with Aaron first. And even though these laws were written down eventually, Torah really means the teaching, the instruction. And at the beginning, Torah meant just those 10 commandments. They're all based in love. Do we really need to be reminded that we're not supposed to kill other people? But the first law is love thy God with all thy heart and all thy soul and all thy might. But then the question becomes, who is this God? Well, one of the other commandments is love your neighbor as you love thyself. And these two aren't separate from each other, because in Lakesh, I am another you. Anyway, this instruction, Torah, can also mean the instructions that a parent is teaching their children. We're teaching, I believe, if we're raising our children, raising them as adults, we're raising them to be a member of society. We're teaching them to be loving and kind and self-sufficient, but we're also teaching them how to survive, how to use their intention, how to set goals, how to go after the things that they want. How to follow their dreams. To create a stable life, but also a fruitful life. In one of the comments below, we'll see how much fits in each comment. Now, I'll copy paste the write up. This Torah, once Aaron started the rabbi tradition, not only did he pass down the original laws, they wrote down other laws of society and how to live a fruitful, godly life. And when new rabbis, when they took their vows, their first instructions were to get a copy from your teacher, get a copy of the Torah, the instructions. Write down your Torah. Make 2 copies of it. And each rabbi, not only were they writing down a letter of the law that, as they were taught, they also wrote down their interpretation of it, what it meant to them, why each of these things were there. And they were instructed during their training to live by it. And not only to live by it, but to, when they're meditating and when they are praying, is to meditate on it and to pray on it. Pray how they are going to be the teacher of these instructions. How are they going to be the how are they going to do it righteously? 1, by living it. 2, by pondering it. And then living it, and then it makes it easy to actually teach it. Asitur uta hakatara arha iskanahasisiria atotor okananata katiriarata. And King Solomon, one of the Hebrew kings, the son of King David, from David and Goliath, when Solomon first received news that he was going to be king, he was not the oldest son, and the crown or the mantle was not supposed to be handed down to him. But when he was chosen by his father, David, he went out. He went out to the mountain. He went out to pray and to give sacrifice. Now, besides the traditional sacrifice, I'm going to go sacrifice a dove, or these things, animal sacrifices, these sacrifices represent things from us, like confession, like forgiveness, sacrificing the things that won't serve us any longer. And they represent the bad or the contrast in us, the shadow side of us. And when he made his sacrifice, he prayed to God, and he asked for not other things that other kings and other rulers were asking for. He did not ask for a long life, many wives, riches. He did not ask for success in war. He asked for wisdom, so that he can be a better ruler of the kingdom, ruler for the people, being a fair ruler, and being a devoted ruler to both God and his people. Now, this idea of God, you can see God as the burning bush if you choose. You can see God as your inner being. No matter how you see God, this idea of God, or source, or the universe, no matter how you see it, if you're listening to my channel, you have heard that word before, but it's about you finding your truth, you finding your God, you finding your true name, you finding your teacher within. This loving teacher, because I don't think you'd be listening to my channel if you had a drill sergeant for an inner being and an inner teacher. You may, atura, asa, ikahasha ikotoro. And when I was first ordained, I took it seriously for me to write down my Torah, what the word meant to me, what did it mean to be a priest in of God the Most High. Which is also has to do with what is my daily routine, or what's my outlook. And although I had this grandiose scheme of I'm going to write down all these things of but what it came down to is that these rules, I came up with a whole bunch of rules that I wanted to follow, and I'm going, that's so hard. And I think that's missing the point, because am I going to follow these rules just because I said that these are rules for me to follow, to adhere to God's principles, or the Spirit of God? But I did question, how did I want to live my life? It's not like I didn't already know how I wanted to live my life. I chose my Reiki master because she was an ordained priest. She mentioned many other things which sold it for me, but I knew I was a priest. I knew that I just haven't been ordained yet. And it's somebody who also made the vow that it meant something to me. And it's not that she preached about being a priest or about being loving. It was her presence that did it. And she's an amazing being. But what I came down to for my Torah is what I always knew. That this thing called love, this all-pervading force in the universe, that God created everything. And God created only one thing, and that is this unconditional love. Which is why God can respect our free will, because that's what unconditional love means, that every time you go back to God for whatever reason, God is there for you. And if we take out the old man in the clouds theme of God, and if we take out these themes of punishment for doing wrong, and if we see, let's pose for a second that our inner being is God. And by our inner being, it's this non-judgmental part of us. Are we going to get on our own case? Well, we happen to be the worst judge of ourselves. But are we successful when we're so focused on we did something wrong? Or does that make us become focused? Do we actually learn our lesson? And did we move past it? We don't necessarily have to forget it. But once we fully learn our lesson from it, aren't we a better person? Aren't we more fair? Let's just stick with the simple concept of fair. Aren't we easier on ourselves and easier on the conversations that we have with other people? And don't we back off on the judgment? And if we can forgive ourselves, can't we forgive other people? Or let's not even use the word forgive. Can we see the best in ourselves and see the best in others? Can we see how do we want to be nurtured, and don't we want to nurture the citizens of our reality that way? But it doesn't matter what my experience is. It matters how you want to rule your reality. How do you want to live your life? Do you want to live it through this abundance, or do you want to live it through contrast, which is totally okay? I'm going to try to cheer you on. But maybe you have a different plan for you and your life and your inner being. And if I'm in this, Abraham Hicks talks about being in the vibration of abundance. And if I'm cheering somebody else on for their successes, this is the vibration of abundance. And by law, this abundance is already coming to me. Abraham Hicks also talks about when manifesting, if we're just in the state of love, if we're manifesting because the feeling of manifesting it is abundance, and we're in this abundance, we're already successful. And if we don't attach to the outcome, which attachment happens to be the blocker for Sahasrara, our crown. Because if we can give it to the universe without attaching an outcome to it, including any expectation, although Abraham Hicks talks about expecting it, that's a different type of expectation that we humans have, that new manifestors and even experienced manifestors talk about or deal with. There are expectations from the universe, and they put a time stamp on it, and then after that time, that timer expires, then they get upset. I'm one of them. And then I have to reset. And that's when I start breathing. And I don't try to forget it. I just sit there and breathe for a moment. Which is the same advice that I'm going to give that I've always given in this series, that when a stray thought comes in, whatever that stray thought is, just return our awareness and our focus back to our breath and the chant, and that thought will go away on its own. It's the whole basis behind what Abraham Hicks is trying to teach in this law of attraction, which is the same advice from our inner being, that this viewpoint of abundance is here always, and you can choose to see it that way. Askanata atata arahiska yarata hata hachiho toro onoto hiskanahata kareata hata. And how we choose to live our reality, kasihikoturio shahata kataria shahasakananiariata. This living love, because the love that's necessary, I use living love, besides that's what they gave me, it's also what my inner being gave me. This love, it's not a fixed thing. It is something that we can measure ourselves by, but instead of measuring ourselves against this love, why don't we align ourselves with it? And it's not that what's necessary. Some days we need a hug. Some days we need 10. Some days we need 100. And some days we're feeling so good, we're the ones that are giving the hugs. And some days we can only give 1 or 2. Some days we can give those 100 or 1,000 hugs. But each person has a different story, and why they need or want a hug is a different story. The love that's necessary in the hug that we're giving is different for each person in each moment. And this love is going to change over the length of the hug. Reiki is another word for love. It's the living life force energy. And it's living. And even if you're a healer and you have repeat clients, each time you place your hand on a client, the energy is going to be different. What their needs are going to be different. And although we just call in Reiki and allow it to flow, what flows through and what's received is different in every moment. And if you keep your hands, you as the practitioner will feel something different. Feel something as soon as you place your hands, you'll feel something different after 30 seconds, after 2 minutes, whether you feel heat, whether you feel cold, whether you feel healing, or whether you feel stagnation. It does not matter. You'll feel something different. And the client feels something different in each moment. But the belief in the process and relying on the process of Reiki is getting out of the way of Reiki, getting out of the way of the living life force energy. Depends who your teacher was, as to how you learned how this energy works. A Reiki master last night told me, tried to remind, she went into teaching mode. I don't resonate with what she said. The essence of what she said I resonate with. But she gave a limiting process that you as the practitioner are going to receive the energy first. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but the way she said it is like you're going to consume the energy first, and after you're done getting your healing, will the excess energy flow onto the client? And I 100% disagree with that. That is the exact opposite of how I see the Reiki energy working. As soon as you set your intention to send it, it is already there. It is sent. Yes, it goes through you. Yes, you get your healing. This flow of abundance is so overwhelming. You are not just the garden hose. And better yet, the garden hose is only coming to you. Although we see ourselves as the channel of it because we set our intention to send it and they set their intention to receive it. You are no longer the conduit for it. That's the whole idea behind the time and distance symbol. And it's the whole idea behind the Reiki Master symbol. It's the whole idea behind the power symbol. By drawing it on the client, you removed yourself from the equation. You have already concentrated the entire power of the universe on that one single point. You're out of the equation. And if we use the mental and emotional symbol, it is doing the work. It is a living symbol. Just like this living love, just like the living life force energy. It's just like every time that we meditate, it is a new and independent experience. We chose in this life to create all of our chakras. We chose to remember the memorable experiences. And we'll call it the memorable experiences, all the ones that are not in alignment. The karmic imprint over here and the karmic imprint over here. Whether it was oh my goodness, it was so awesome, I want to remember this forever. Guess what? It's imprinted in your living soul, and you have also reported it back to your higher self. And you've reported it back to the entire universe. Because the all is the one and the one is the all. And we have imprinted on this life and we've imprinted on all of our lives. And when we clear karma, we're bringing a former karmic imprint into alignment. That's all we're doing. We're not negating the experience. We're bringing it into alignment. with this living love, and we keep it all in alignment by being in alignment or returning to alignment. Maybe you can experience that idea. If you experience that empty mind, guess what? Nothing exists. Because you stopped observing. So you stopped creating it all. But our time in meditation, are taking this experience of alignment and moving it outwards into our karmic imprint to remind us of what we prefer, how we prefer to live, so that when we're on our throne and we're meditating on the way we want to live our life, we're meditating on our Torah, not only our instruction, but it's the instruction from our Wahe Guru, our inner being, our true authentic self. Our higher self, the being who is sitting on the throne, with the crown upon their head. And by bringing all of our chakras together into our heart center, we're ruling from our heart. Our heart is our foundation. Our heart is our sva, our true authentic self. Our heart is our Ra. Our Ra is the Bij mantra for Manipura, our solar plexus chakra. That we are the light, we are the fire. We are our inspiration. Our heart is our light and our inspiration. And our heart is our filter and our purity. And our heart is our intuition and our insight into life. And our heart is our crown. I see that as the path of ease. Anahata karyata asihatoro kariata niatahatarya shkunoto kuruturishikatitiria. Re is like Ra, the Bij mantra, our radiation of our light, but it's us internalizing it. And that's the reason why caritas in Latin has to do with compassion. And there's a reason why the Buddhists and the Hindus call the Brahma Vihara our heart center, Nyakatarya, as Brahma, the creator. Nyakatakara, you are Brahma. You are the creator of your reality. Nyakatakatara. That's the is your essence that's internalized, but it's also your higher truth. Iskananatikataryata. The ha, your breath out, but hara is also what you are creating. It's the breath out of your radiation. Nyakatatakariyatata. And if you're creating with your while radiating your breath from your heart center, you're in alignment. And you're creating with this living love, this living abundance, this overflowing abundance, which is your true authentic self, because you're listening to your Wahe Guru your inner being, Sakataka, the great teacher within. Nakasa ieta atata, hiskanahasiata, ariacha akato korototo. Felt like I was preaching there. Niarata atata, arahiskanoto toroto. Kushohotorona takariaratata. FYI, I am not Elijah. Niakotorio tokotoro. So I'm not going to stand on the rock and talk about the love. Nior totokarata ehekanaria ratuhutar hatarita. I want to talk to you while hugging you. By showing you my inner being. Making myself vulnerable. Although I know how to command, the only way I'm going to make cracks in anybody else is by showing my cracks. Hiska aya and the only way I'm going to truly hear you is by listening to your inner being that makes its way out of the cracks. So utura hanaka eta shiakanariarata. So I talk too much. No kutoriga. So I invite you to relax. Whether you lie down, or you sit, or you're doing a moving meditation, whether your eyes are closed, I invite you to focus your awareness on your breath. This breath is the prana, niyadata karyata, the pranava, niyataharya shahanata karyata. And besides all these big words and all these big ideas, niyakatarya shohotoryo tokotara. Let's keep it spiritually simple. Nyoro shohotoro hotanariyarata. And simply listen to the sound of our breath as we breathe in and lengthen our breath. As we listen to the sound of our exhale, as if we simply feel how it feels to breathe in. And as we simply feel how it feels to breathe out. As we simply feel our heart as we breathe in. And we simply feel our heart as we breathe out. As we simply feel our crown chakra as we breathe in. As we simply feel our crown as we breathe out. Now let us focus our awareness on our heart center. For in our heart center is the home of our holy fire. Nyakatata atakaryataha. And our holy fire is the source of our bright light. Nyakoturoto otana natakataharyataha. And every breath that we take with intention fans the flames of our holy fire, our internal flame, and it increases the perception of our undimmable bright light, both inward and outward, thus increasing our bright light. As we invite and allow the holy fire to flow in, through, and around us, in every way and everywhere and every when. And we ask the holy fire to only allow in that which is for our highest good and the highest good of all. And let us turn over to our inner being to continue this divine flow effortlessly, naturally, and completely, without any conscious thought, hiskananata arhitata, iriaroto urotohota, hisha aya akanata arhatataraha. Now let us take this energy from our heart center, and let us move it up through the chakras, unifying all the chakras, moving it up through Vishuddha, through Ajna, through Sahasrara, through Vyapini, moving this up through the realms, Hiskana Ata, into the highest source of consciousness, Hiskana Hatiri, Hasa, where there is no ego, where there is no judgment, where there is only unconditional love, where it always respects free will, and where the power is unlimited. Let us bring back more pure holy fire down through the realms, and let us bring this highest source of consciousness down with us, down through all of the realms, unifying them, and thus purifying them, and through Vyapini, purifying it and unifying it, with everything, through Sahasrara, our crown, purifying it and unifying it, moving down through Ajna, purifying and unifying, through Vishuddha, purifying and unifying, moving it down, unifying everything as we come down into Anahata, our heart center. Purifying, combining, and unifying everything in the heart center. And let us ground this energy effectively. Let us bring this energy down through the chakras, down through Manipura, purifying it, down through Svadhisthana, purifying it, down through Muladhara, purifying it, down through Iskonotoru Tokotoria Chaatara Raka, Vasundhara, purifying it, Nyakatara Arkananiti Ariarataka. Now growing roots down into Mother Earth, Nyakasai Achakata, down, 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 deep into the density, Nyarashahiakato, and wrapping these roots around the heart of Gaia, Nyakatakari Iskanahatakari Ariata, purifying the heart of Gaia, Nyakasahiatakatariata. Giving her a great big hug, Nyakotoryushkononotokoryoto, and bringing back her grounded love, Nyakatakariyashkatata. As a matter of fact, we're bringing back the heart of Gaia and all of the density, Nyariyashkononotokoryoto, bringing it up through the root system, unifying the root system as we come along, Nyakotoryashatokoryotoko, bringing it up through Vasundhara, unifying Nyarashkatakoryoto, through Muladhara, unifying Sikatakiriataka, collapsing everything and unifying Nyarushkotokoto, through Svarastana, the sacral chakra, our idea of self, Nyakaturyo, Saya Atakariariata, unifying and collapsing Nyaryashkatakurotokoto, through Manipura, Nyakatariaratakatiariartata, collapsing and unifying Nyaryashkatakuryotoko, and returning to Anahata, our heart center, Nyakatata Ara Hisa Aryakanahata. Unifying. Now all these ideas of separation are unified in Anahata, our heart center, Nyariyachakata Koryoto, the highest realm of consciousness down to the most dense density, Nyatahatahariata, are all unified in the heart. Iskoturu utakatara ananata hataria ranakotoroto. And there is no need for a chest, Nyakatara rananata katiatiariata. And we can't set anything aside because all that is now our heart. Siakatara ichiariata askonohoto roto urakananate ariata. Notur ukatara ihita ishkanahata dara rayata. So the process is, we'll start off with one aum, nyariashko hotora hokotora, the primordial sound of the universe, Nyakatakuryoto, that is in our heart center, for we have unified, Nyakatariashkononotoryoto. And we will chant Om Mani Padme Hum 108 times, Nyakatakaryacha, and this chant is in our heart center, because we have unified. Arskanahia Saakataryarata. We'll do so on the 8 count, using the mala of joy, which is in our heart center, because we have unified. And we will close out with one aum, Nyahroto Utur Hokanata Ariatataria. As we are this living life force energy, as we breathe what we are, this living life force energy, as we chant this magical chant that we are, Nyakator Utor Urnahatikariata. And a breath in for our true authentic self, Aum. Aum. starting off with Vasundhara, another name for our true, authentic self, Niarashahatukuruhutukurihatata, and a breath in to chant.
Om Mani Padme
Ishanaha
Hum.
Seyara, Akiarata Atatahara, Hitoto Urahanaka Ayara,
Om Mani
Ichkarata
Padme
Hirahata,
Hum.
Achkaharati Hira, Atakoroto Hotoruhunata,
Om Mani
Hitoro Hotoro,
Padme Hum.
Ichkahatara, Isahaya Akatara Hanataka, Itahatara
Om
Hanata,
Mani
Ichoro
Padme
Hokotara Harana,
Hum.
Ichkaharata Ahasira, Atakaharati Hitara,
Om Mani
Masohonoto Ohuto
Padme
Rahaya,
Hum.
Achikahatara Haratakira, Atakanata Hata,
Om Mani
Isahayata
Padme
Atara
Hum.
Hakatira, Ichahatata Kanahasira, Ichikaharata Hira,
Om
Atakaharata
Mani
Hira,
Padme
Aturo
Hum.
Hokonoto Horo, Achahatata Harata Hira, Ichikahatar
Om
Hasana,
Mani Padme
Itoro
Hum.
Hokotor Hatana, Ichaharata Hatara, Ichikaharata Hatita Hata,
Om Mani
Atukoroto
Padme
Hotoro,
Hum.
Achikaharata Hanata Kahira, Ichahatata Hatara Hakaya,
Om Mani
Itokorono
Padme
Toharahaya,
Hum.
Atakaharata Haya, Achikaharati Hitiariataha,
Om Mani
Atoro Hokotoro
Padme
Hana,
Hum.
Ichahatara Harakahayata Atara, Atoroto
Om
Hotoro,
Mani
Ichikaharata
Padme
Hataraha,
Hum.
Itahatara. Moving up to Wuladhara.
Om
Hotu
Mani
Uhutoro
Padme
Hanati
Hum.
Heriara, Itoro Okonoto, Ishahayaka Atata Arhatana,
Om Mani
Hitoto
Padme
Uhutoro
Hum.
Hotadara, Konoto Horoto Hota, Ishahaka Atara Hatatihi,
Om Mani
Hitoto Uhunora,
Padme Hum.
Ichikahatata Hatara Hatake, Ishohotoro, Utuhoroto
Om
Ukanata,
Mani
Ichahatata
Padme
Harate
Hum.
Hitaka, Achkahaya Aturo Hokotoro Hokana,
Om
Ichahatata
Mani
Hatita Hahita,
Padme Hum.
Kanatara Hata, Itoro Hokotoro Utuhorana,
Om
Atakarata Hatita
Mani
Harata,
Padme Hum.
Atakiariata Hatana, Aturo Hokotoro Hanataha, Atutu
Om
Huhutaha,
Mani Padme
Achkahiata Hata,
Hum.
Atikiriata Hanata Hati, Aturo Hutoro Hakeata,
Om Mani
Ichihanata
Padme
Hatara
Hum.
Hatita, Atakoroto Hanata, Itiariarata
Om
Hatakahaya,
Mani
Atutu
Padme
Uhutorata,
Hum.
Ichkaharanatihi, Atakaharata Hatita Harata,
Om Mani Padme
Haturo
Hum.
Huroto Horanahaya, Achikaharata Hirata Hatita,
Om
Atukoroto
Mani
Hutoro,
Padme Hum.
Atihiriata Hanata Kaharetaha, Achuhotoro Uhuonariata,
Om Mani
Atakaratihita,
Padme Hum.
Atihiriata Hana, Atakahara. Moving up to Svadhisthana.
Om Mani
Kototo Huruta,
Padme Hum.
Ishahiata Atarahana, Itakatata Harata Hayataha,
Om
Hatu Hoto
Mani
Horatana,
Padme
Atakarata
Hum.
Hata, Ishahanata Harata Kahayataha, Atakoroto
Om
Hotoro,
Mani
Atakarana
Padme
Hatahiria,
Hum.
Hatoroto Konata Hariara, Ichkarata Hatahariata,
Om
Atakarata
Mani
Hayata Harata,
Padme Hum.
Achikarata Hanata Kariara, hatuto uhuto rata,
Om
ichkarata
Mani
hatayariata,
Padme Hum.
hatukoroto huna, atakiriata hanata kahreta,
Om
hatur hukuno
Mani
roto
Padme
ratita,
Hum.
hatur hanata arhatakahe, atkarata hanata
Om
karyata hatara,
Mani Padme
hatur
Hum.
hukunoro tatariataha, atukoroto hotoro harkanayata,
Om Mani
achkarata hera,
Padme Hum.
atukoroto hutoro hukanata, iti ariarta hanata
Om
hartitia,
Mani Padme
achkorotora,
Hum.
atkarata hatata, ishkono hotoro hotakatara,
Om
itukorata haya,
Mani Padme
atihiti ariarta
Hum.
hana, haturo ukono hotora hata, ishanata ariara,
Om Mani Padme Hum.
hatukoroto honata harati, aturo hokotoro honata atara,
Om Mani
achikariata
Padme
hatara,
Hum.
iskanahata iti ariara. Moving up to Manipura.
Om Mani
Haturo hokonoto
Padme
rota.
Hum.
Yeshahayaka anata. Itakarata hanata hatitaha. Atuhuroto
Om
hoko.
Mani
Ishahanata
Padme
harata.
Hum.
Atakarata hatita. Ichohoroto horana.
Om
Ichkarate heraha.
Mani Padme Hum.
Konoto horotaha. Atarata kayeta ana.
Om
Hisata
Mani
atara hatakana
Padme
hatidara.
Hum.
Achikarata hatoro. Utoro hokonata harataha.
Om Mani
Itiariata hata.
Padme Hum.
Akihariarana. Atukuroto ohotoro hona. Achikarata
Om
haya.
Mani Padme
Iskono hotoro
Hum.
hatakatara. Atakarata atitakara. Atakaria chohotoro hotana.
Om Mani
Hatoto
Padme
ohotoria.
Hum.
Achikarate hitakar. Atakarati hitakaria cha atara.
Om
Hatoro o
Mani
tanata karata.
Padme Hum.
Ishkana hatara harakatira. Arshahayaka asata.
Om
Isahokotoro
Mani
okanata
Padme
arata hitara.
Hum.
Hisahakira hatakata hata. Ichkanata harata eroto
Om
hotoro.
Mani Padme
Ishahakaya.
Hum.
Atiria rata kanahatita. Ichkohoroto o tananata rera.
Om Mani
Ichkarata ayara.
Padme Hum.
Konoto horoto o toro. Kadata hai eata.
Om Mani
Iskanahatati.
Padme
Ichiariata.
Hum.
Ana ata ara. Moving up to Anahata.
Om
Hatutu
Mani
uhutoria.
Padme Hum.
Ichiharara tehianana. Atakoroto hotoroho. Hu chahayata.
Om Mani
Itiariarata kanati.
Padme Hum.
Ichahatata ataharahata. Ichkohorotahana.
Om
Itiariarata hakana
Mani
atarahata.
Padme Hum.
Hishohonoto horo. Utkorota anata ata. Ichahataria.
Om
Achikahiata
Mani
atitiariata.
Padme Hum.
Haturo hokonoto. Uturo hokatara hanataka.
Om
Isahanara
Mani
ayarata
Padme
atitiariata.
Hum.
Konoto roto katata anata arihata. Ishkanatara
Om
harayakata.
Mani Padme
Atakarata
Hum.
hitara. Ishohotoro hukonotoro. Ichahatara harakayata.
Om
Itoro
Mani
ukonoto
Padme Hum.
urhakatariata. Ichkarati hita. Itahatara hakayana atakaraya.
Om Mani
Ishosho uhotoro
Padme
hokatara.
Hum.
Ichkanatara hakayata. Atkiriarati hitakariata
Om
hata.
Mani
Ishohotoro
Padme
utana
Hum.
hatakariata. Achkaharate hitaka. Achohoroto hutono.
Om Mani
Ishahakanata ariarata.
Padme Hum.
Isahatata anahatakari. Arakaroto urut.
Om
Atakanati
Mani
tiaryatahata.
Padme
Ishohotoro okonoryatahata arahata. Ichahatatahana.
Om
Ishohokotoro
Mani
hokotana.
Padme
Ichahayata atara hatakana. Moving up to Vishuddha.
Om Mani
Hotoro
Padme
okonoto
Hum
rotitiariara. Atakarate hita. Atahatara hanaka atara.
Om Mani
Atakarata hariatara
Padme
shahekaha.
Hum
Atakarashi hera. Atakoroto hotono hota.
Om Mani
Ishahatata
Padme
arahanaka tara
Hum
hitokoro. Atakarati hitakaria chahantara. Itakoroto hotoro
Om
honakata.
Mani
Ishahatata
Padme Hum
anhakara. Ichkoroto ho. Atakoriata hanata karata.
Om
Ishahanata
Mani
karati
Padme
kariara.
Hum
Hatoro hokonotoro. Ichkarata hanata karita.
Om
Atakanata harita
Mani
hatata harato
Padme
hutoro.
Hum
Hishkana hatare hita haraha. Achkarati hitokoro.
Om
Atakuarata hatanata.
Mani Padme Hum
Achkarata hitokoro hutoro. Achkarisa agihatara. Hitoro
Om
hokotori
Mani
hatara.
Padme
Ichahatiti
Hum
ariarta hanata. Arshahayaka asa. Artiki ariarta hatato.
Om Mani Padme
Hatoro
Hum
otana. Ichkaharataha. Itakoroto hotoro hokanata dira.
Om Mani
Hisata atara
Padme
hatakanatira.
Hum
Atoro hokotoro hoka. Ishahayaka atara
Om
arkanehata.
Mani
Ishohotoro
Padme
otanonata
Hum
karyata hatita hara. Atakarata hatitaha. Ishahakanata arhita
Om
hatara.
Mani
Ishohotoro
Padme
hotoro
Hum
una atakara. Moving up to Ajna.
Om Mani
Hatiri atihitakai.
Padme Hum
Atara arkana hasira. Achohotoro rotakahnata arhatita.
Om Mani
Atakiri
Padme
arahashaya.
Hum
Hatukoroto otona. Atara harkayeta atara
Om
hashaya.
Mani Padme
Atoro utanata
Hum
karyeta. Atakarata hatita. Atukoroto hotara harana.
Om Mani Padme
Hitia tiara
Hum
harakaheta. Harakarshayekaha. Atur hokonoto
Om
horata.
Mani
Ishayeta
Padme
atara.
Hum
Harakaheta ana. Atur hokotoro hatara.
Om
Achihiata ata
Mani
harnata kariara.
Padme Hum
Achikoroto otoro. Hatiata atara arkana hatita.
Om Mani
Ishaya ata
Padme
karata
Hum
hatita harata. Hachikarata hotoro hokanata. Ichihariarata
Om
hatakara.
Mani Padme
Ishkorono to oroto.
Hum
Hatiti ariata hakahayata. Atkoroto hotara.
Om Mani
Atkarati
Padme
hiariata
Hum
hanata. Hitiorioto hokotoro hotakatita. Atkarata hayera.
Om Mani Padme
Achikohoroto
Hum
uhotanaha. Hishahayakatara harahiniara. Ishkanahatara hariata
Om
hatitaha.
Mani Padme
Atikeriata
Hum
hanata. Harchatara. Hisokonohotora hataka.
Om Mani
Ishahatakara atita.
Padme Hum
Ishkanahatara. Itakatara. Moving up to Sahasrara.
Om Mani
Kasihi katar
Padme
hita.
Hum
Ichahariata hanataka. Aturo hokotoro hontana hata.
Om
Ichahatara harakia.
Mani Padme
Ashahayaka
Hum
atara. Ichkoroto hotona hata. Atakarata hatira harara.
Om Mani
Atakarata
Padme
horoto honota
Hum
hara. Achkarata harito koro. Atoro konoto
Om
urohoto
Mani
dorashaya.
Padme Hum
Atahatata anahatikariara. Ishkono hotor hokatara hatita.
Om
Atkarataha.
Mani Padme
Atkarata
Hum.
atitiariataha. Atur hoko ur hokanata hariara.
Om
Ishkanahata
Mani
arahneata.
Padme Hum.
Achkaharati iria. Hatukurutu una takara. Ishahaya atara
Om
manihata.
Mani Padme
Ashkanata
Hum.
raharitaka. Atur hukontor hanata. Ishahatata.
Om Mani
Atukoroto
Padme
hotora hata.
Hum.
Ichahatar hika anatirara. Ishahaya
Om
atatara
Mani
nahatikiara.
Padme Hum.
Atukoroto hotoro. Atkiariata hanata karata.
Om
Ishahanata
Mani
rahatikata.
Padme Hum.
Atukoroto hotoro. Itiariata hanata karata.
Om Mani
Hisata
Padme
atitiariata.
Hum. Om Mani
Hatitiariata hana.
Padme Hum.
Isahakatara anahata.
Moving up to Vyapini. Om Mani
Konoto horoto
Padme
hutoro.
Hum.
Ichakata taharata hata. Atakarata he.
Om
Nitikariata hanata
Mani
harata.
Padme Hum.
Haturo hukonoro. Ichiharata hatitakarata ha.
Om Mani Padme Hum.
Atakarata hanata. Ishahayatara akahatara. Atakarata
Om
hatita
Mani
hanata hata.
Padme Hum.
Atakoroto hotoro hota. Ishahayaka anata
Om
harita ha.
Mani
Itoro
Padme
otanata
Hum.
arhakearata. Itoro orokana hatara. Akahiarata
Om
hatara.
Mani Padme
Ishahanata harahita
Hum.
karata. Atoro okotora hakana hatara.
Om
Ichkoroto hohota
Mani
kanahatita.
Padme Hum.
Atkiariata hanata karda. Achohotor ukanahatariata.
Om
Ashakarara
Mani
tikariataha.
Padme Hum.
Atakarata hayataha. Atakoroto hotoro horta.
Om
Ishahanata karata
Mani
kaya.
Padme Hum.
Atakoroto hona. Ishahakanata arahiataka. Atoto uhuta
Om
jayaria.
Mani Padme
Atakara.
Hum.
Iskanahatata araha. Itoto uhukotataariara.
Om
Ishahanaka hara.
Mani Padme
Atariara
Hum.
tahanata hayata.
Last
Itoto
one.
uhukotatara.
Om Mani
Koroto hototaha.
Padme Hum.
Iskanata anahata. Inner breath in for Aum. Aum. Stay here for as long as you like. Niorosho hotor hokatarayata. Maybe even pause the video to spend more time in the energy. Niakotoro, kotoro, haya, hakatanate ariata. When you are ready, Akiator Huton Hanati Ariarata. Slowly bring your awareness back to the here and now. Utur Akanata Arhata Katiri Ariata. Maybe wiggle your fingers and toes. Niatakarya Chakatara. Maybe invite in some gentle movements. Niakatata Anahate Arihatara. And when you are ready, slowly open your eyes, and welcome in the new now. Huturu ukatata hisa atiariarat no to uruto utatiariarata. Congratulations, my friends. Niakatata arahatikatiariarata katatita. You have completed you. Sihakatariarata. You have completed day number 89, Niakatakaryarata, of Shine, Stargate Heart. Illuminate your natural essence, Niakatakatakaryatata. We're illuminating it to ourselves, to our conscious mind, and we're illuminating it to every aspect of our awareness. And although they have not used those words today because we unified all of the chakras, there's no sense in using those words today because we unified everything into our awareness, to our heart center, where all that is really only exists. So the only thing they really want to talk about is this idea of forgiveness. This idea of forgiveness, yes, it is a vibration of love. But it's also a vibration of lack. Because the higher realms of heaven, although they understand the word, they don't use it because it's not that they don't forgive. They're always loving. When somebody in my inner circle decides to take a time out and not talk to me for a little bit, and I know that they need time for themselves, when they come back, and if they apologize, there's nothing to forgive. There's nothing to forgive. That's the same attitude that our angels have, that your angels have. That's the same attitude that God has. That's the same attitude that your inner being has. And no matter the idea of your higher self, there are ideas of a higher self that is hard on us. That scolds us. I do not subscribe to those ideas of the higher self. Those are ideas of a conscious mind. And those are ideas of the limiting self. If we continue to judge ourselves and to judge others, and if we allow a higher self to be one of the righteous rulers of our reality, we're going to be living this life full of judgment, not discernment, not discerning between preference, what we prefer to do, what we prefer to create, what we prefer to experience, how we prefer to love in this now. Instead, we're consciously thinking about how we want to act in this now to get what we want, how to act in this now to not mess things up, how to act in this now, how to speak in this now. We're just being judgmental on ourselves instead of living from the heart, acting from the heart with love, with compassion, with joy, and with harmony. Sahaya a takaryata hatara. Nothing more to say. Askanata arehata kotukuryuchuko. So I thank you, my friends, for sharing in my highest bliss. Iskatakatata aretikatieta. Shine on akatara arekatitiara. And make it a great day. Because why would you leave it up to anyone else? Make it a living, loving day. Aska atiariarakatatarirata.